and unfortunately for the week we lost negative $4,438.76. So it's our 7th out of the past 24 weeks. This is our 7th red week. How's it going? It's Rocky. This is week 24, and it is an important week because it is FOMC week. And from what has occurred in the past, when it's FOMC week, there's always two things that I try to do to approach the week. Yet the results are always the same. The first approach is that I'm overly cautious, and by doing so, I end up not trading naturally, which ends up being bad in the end. And the second approach that I do is that I just go with my gut feeling on what's going on, and due to that, I'm again not trading due to how I normally trade, and that ends up being a bad result. And of course, this week is no exception. I ended up being a bad week. Actually had a big L this week. It's our 7th red week for the past 24 weeks, which isn't too bad. And basically, in the future, maybe I should just skip trading the FOMC week. What do you think? Is it something that you trade yourself, or do you skip the week altogether? So even though it's a losing week, I still do respect your time, and I want you to find value in the content that I'm sharing. So I am going to share one of my trades that actually was successful this week. And this occurred during Globex. So Globex is when the US index that I'm trading, specifically the Dow Jones Industrial Average, they're available during the EU and the Asia market hours, and that's referred to as Globex. I have the timestamp here. You can see when it's open. And on this trade, since I'm in the Pacific Coast, it occurred at about 11:20 in the evening. So if you do have a 9 to 5 and you're a night owl and you don't start too early the next day, this is a good side hustle for you to consider, because during the Globex, the market is a little slower. So on the left is the time-based chart, where each candle that you see is 5 minutes, and on the right is a tick-based chart. So each candle is about 512 trades. You can change that. There's 512, 1024, 2048. I just choose to use 512 because that's been what's working to me the past few years. And I also am using Heikin-Ashi on the right just to see the patterns a lot clearer. So I entered with 2 contracts here at 34,258, and followed by another one at 34,248 about 20 minutes later, and that gave us an average of 34,254. And the reason I entered on this, again, I'm showing it in practice, but it's in a lot of my videos. I go through why I enter, and it's also on the description if you wanted to read that. I also have it up here, flashing it real quick on what the reasons that I do enter a trade. And again, this is what works for me. Doesn't mean that it's the perfect way of entering, because as you can tell, I still had a losing week, but it's just something to start up, something to build on, if just in case you're trading and you don't have a foundation to use. And with this one, I like to short when the stochastic RSI is on the oversold side and it's after the crossover. So as you can see, it had crossed over at around 10 p.m. That's when I started looking at it, and I can see a bit of a divergence here. But based on the time base, there's really not much you can tell based off of this. And this is where the tick base really helps me out. So if you look at the tick base, I could see a bit more divergence on what was going on. And at that time of entry, this was already close to the oversold side, and that was one of the main reasons that I did enter a trade. So there was a congruence between the time base and the tick base chart, and we were able to, by the time at midnight, this big candle that you see here, which had a range of about 37 points, that's when the EU market opened. And we were able to cover there at 34,224. There you go. Show that a little bit. Okay, 34,224. So I'll bring the calculator just so we can calculate how that trade actually did. So we were shorting at 34,254. Again, that's the average of the three there, and we covered at 34,224. So just 30 points, which is pretty decent. And basically, since we had three contracts, where for one contract 1 point is $5, so with three contracts it's $15. Multiply that by 15. So this was a decent trade of a gross profit of $450 before commissions and fees, and it's a trade that started from 11:20 to about midnight. So 40 minutes, I say that's a pretty decent result there. I wish most of my trades were like this week, but again, it was FOMC week, and something about the week just it messes with the way I trade, which is why I should consider just skipping the week altogether on the next FOMC meeting. So our account statement, we're recording Friday, June 16th in the year 2023. It's 2:52 p.m. in the Pacific Coast, and the statement that I'm showing here starts from this past Sunday at June 11th to today, Friday, June 16th. And going through the account statement, we're going to scroll down here because I want to point out that I withdrew $1,000 from the account. So that means we'll add that back to the ending cash, and you'll ask, it's a losing week, why did you still withdraw? Well, the reality of it is, since this is my full-time job now, I still need to make withdrawals every week to be able to fund my sinking fund the following month. And my goal right now, I have about a 1 month leeway, but of course that's not a very good margin there. My goal is to have funded my lifestyle for up to 6 months, and that way I can breathe a little better when trading. So that's just my only withdrawal for the week, and I will bring the calculator to calculate how we did for the week. Our ending cash was $42,827.70, but we did withdraw $1,000, so we'll add that back to our ending cash. So our actual ending cash is $43,827.70. Now if we scroll back up to our starting cash for the week, we'll subtract $48,266.46, and unfortunately for the week we lost negative $4,438.76. So it's our 7th out of the past 24 weeks. This is our 7th red week. We do give back some of our profits that we had last week, and it's a bit unfortunate because every time I do celebrate my big wins, somehow I do lose the following week. So it's a way for the market, I guess, to keep me humble. And just to calculate that, divided by 40, this week I really was losing almost $110.97 per hour. A disappointing week, and it's an upcoming 3-day weekend. Hopefully we're able to recover that next week. It'll be a short week. It's happy Juneteenth if you're celebrating it on Monday. It's a fairly new holiday that we're celebrating in the US, but as you know, in the US, 3-day weekends are really just time to barbecue, especially in the summer, to be with family and friends. And I will catch you on the next content. Hopefully we're back on the green next week. Thank you for supporting my channel, and if you haven't already, you know the drill. Please do subscribe and enable the notifications so you do know when I do release a new content to come and check it out. All right, y'all have a good one, and I see you on the next one.